Yes, it's time. Hello, and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozugbakun. It is 108 days to the 2019 general election in Nigeria, and as issues about the polls continue to unfold, we will always be here to help you dissect them. Today on the program, Buhari visits Kaduna State, says killings must stop. Soldiers, Shi'ites clash in Abuja again, many feared dead. Buhari attacks Obasanjo, Yaradua and Jonathan, says they did nothing on infrastructure. And later on the show, federal governors disagree over new national minimum wage as strike looms. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otoju, Ismail Omikbidon and Dari Odufowokon. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. All right, the wanton killings in Kaduna State and other parts of Nigeria must stop. This is a strong message of President Muhammadu Buhari as he visited Kaduna this Tuesday to condole with people and victims of last week's uprising. President Buhari, who expressed sadness over the tragic loss of lives and property in Kasuwan Magani, promised to deploy more security agents to states to fish out perpetrators of the latest killings. Jide, we have to do this quickly. And what's the update about Kaduna?
Well, the update is that the curfew has been relaxed and peace is gradually returning to the state. The police have made arrests, but as we always say, we shouldn't end with making those arrests. People have to see the perpetrators being brought to justice. It's not enough to just parade people and say you've arrested about 90 people, and after that, nothing will happen. So just as Khan demanded, I think Nigerians must demand that the people behind these killings in Abuja should be fished out and justice served on them. That's what Nigerians want to see. The president has gone there to issue the same kind of threats that we are already familiar with. But what Nigerians want to see, the difference maker in my view, is these people being put on trial, not just put on trial, being tried quickly, and then justice served on them. As long as those behind the carnage in our cities don't get punished, other people will be encouraged. And then the president has said that he's going to send more troops to those areas. What I want the president to do is not simply to send troops, equip the armed forces. We are suffering serious equipment inadequacy, especially in the army. This is a fact. Any honest Nigerian soldier will tell you that we have serious, acute equipment deficiency at this time. So when you are sending people out, provide enough equipment for them. For the Air Force, that we know what the Air Force can do when they have enough ground attack helicopters and the rest. Provide them with sufficient equipment. It's not enough for us to have maybe 5 or 6 Mi-35. We should have more than 50. Countries around us, look at a country like Sudan. You go to the airport in Khartoum, you see more than 50 ground attack helicopters packed. So when we have sufficient equipment to prosecute all these little wars within us, definitely things will improve.
All right, Dari, moving forward, every day you get to hear of this kind of dastardly act in Kaduna State. And what should the government be looking at in that direction?
Yeah, well, like Jide profiled, we need to be more serious with the way we handle situations like this. And for me, I think every time, sadly though, opportunities present themselves for this government and even the ones before it to end these kind of occurrences, but we always fail to do the right thing. The right thing to do is not to continue to wait for it to happen, then we start reacting. We must make sincere effort to stop such things from happening. How do we do that? Punish the perpetrators. We've been saying this over time. You see, now it has happened again. People have been arrested. We are waiting, they will soon be paraded. Then that's the last thing we'll hear about it. Let us pursue this particular occurrence to a conclusive end. And you will be surprised that others will be afraid to repeat this kind of thing. If you look at what is happening in Plateau, it's a good example. The way the Nigerian army is searching for their missing general, I am sure that before somebody will repeat that kind of killing, it will take some time. So let's be more determined to end the killings. And that's the way to go.
Well, Ismail, is it just the option of deployment of military and everything? What can we do in terms of forestalling this kind of attacks?
Well, as somebody who had lived in Kaduna and worked there before, I believe that deploying troops alone will not solve the problem. There should be a deliberate attempt to engage on confidence building among the people. An average Muslim in Kaduna viewed an average Christian with suspicion. And that is why most times if you get posted to Kaduna newly and you are looking for accommodation, the first question the agent will ask you, are you a Muslim or you are a Christian? Because if you are a Muslim, there is a place you are supposed to stay. If you are a Christian, there is a place you are supposed to stay. And until we remove this barrier, I know it's going to be difficult, but I think we can make deliberate effort to do it. Until we remove it, it will be very, very difficult, it just, maybe when it happens, you deploy troops, but after that, what happens next? And like everybody said here, I also believe very strongly that meting out punishment to perpetrators. But in arresting perpetrators, now we must be sure that those arrested are real perpetrators, not people you just pick up based on assumption.
All right, let's move on now. Nigeria, at least on paper, is not in a state of war. Yet clashes between the country's army and some religious groups are becoming regular occurrence. Members of the Islamic movement in Nigeria clashed again with soldiers around Yanya area of Abuja less than 48 hours after another in Zuba. The latest clash occurred on Monday when some soldiers tried to stop the Shi'ites procession from moving into the FCT at a military checkpoint. In this latest clash, many people are feared killed and several injured. How do we cope these avoidable clashes? Babajide, it's our simple conclusion yesterday, because people were just asking for the root cause of this, and people were able to establish that the court has said it over and over again, that El Zakzaky should be freed. And in this kind of situation, the federal government, for reason best known to them, keeping El Zakzaky. So people are dying every day, and when you see the determination, in spite of the fact that they don't have the capacity to face the military, they are still coming out every day to protest. What do you make of this mess?
No, there is no law that has banished a peaceful protest. We don't have
Peaceful.
A peaceful protest.
Peaceful.
A peaceful protest, a peaceful procession. It's well within the rights of the people to protest peacefully, to embark on the peaceful procession. Now, as we have seen with the Shi'ites, this time of the year is an annual ritual for them to embark on that procession. But because of their track record of blocking access to the highway and subjecting other road users to unnecessary pain. And their track record of even engaging the military. You can see that soldiers have made up their minds that they will not allow these guys to embark on peaceful procession, you know. So, unfortunately, the Shi'ites have shown that they are a difficult group to cow. They made up their minds, they've killed them several times, they've disrupted their procession several times.
Women, children.
But you still see them. They can decide to march from Kano to Zaria. It does not really bother them. And if you kill them today,
They'll come tomorrow.
the next time,
More will come out tomorrow.
they will come out. After the army went to kill them in their sleep, I think about 2.5 years ago.
December 2015.
Yeah. So, after the army killed them in their sleep, these guys have become emboldened. Some of them have made up their minds to die, whatever happens. So, and I'm concerned about the image that killing these people the way the army is killing them. I'm concerned about
International community.
Yes, how the international community views this. Because if you go and read when the Americans refused to sell weapons to us, they were saying that the Nigerian army would turn those weapons against its own people. So, yes, the lay law was there, but they explained that no, we would not sell. And let me tell you, when they said they would sell Tucano helicopters, Tucano jets to us, there's no guarantee that because you have paid, you will receive the Tucano. There are people who have placed order for American hardware more than 20 years that they will not deliver to them. I'm sure the chief of air staff, because he must have read a lot about it, he knows that I'm saying the truth. 20 years you may not get it. Today now, what we had before now was, okay, Tucano jets will be delivered to us in 2020. Go and find out from the military whether they have not moved it from 2020 for another year. And it will go on like that. If you continue to use live ammunition against protesters, you are making life difficult for yourself. You go to France. France does not want to sell weapons to you. We have tried all means. We tell France that, look, our neighbors, at least we help them. We are friendly with our neighbors. France still refuses to sell weapons to you. So we have to be careful. The image of Nigeria is at stake. Remember what happened in Giwa Barracks when civilian JTF arrested about 70 Boko Haram, suspected Boko Haram men who had earlier escaped from their cell in Giwa Barracks. And they handed them over to the army, and the army summarily shot these guys. I've seen the video, so it's not a case of, lying against the army. Shot people. And a lot of the haters of Nigeria, they have evidence of this. Even the video of the Shi'ites being killed in their sleep, people have video. So it's not good for our image, and that was why I suggested yesterday that it should be the police that would even manage these people. Because these are people, they made up their minds that they will protest. But must you use live ammunition to disrupt protesters? The army is not equipped to manage this kind of protests. So let the police do it.
So, Dari, I don't know. They have parents, they have leaders, but I was thinking that it's always better when you are confronted with something like this, that you should not dare the military. But from what I've seen, the more you try to deter these people, the more determined.
You heard when the maestro himself told you that these people have made up their mind. You see, when agitations are based on religious beliefs,
the doctrines,
these are not things you handle the usual way. It's an unusual thing that requires unusual brilliance. unusual innovations and tactics
Women
to handle. People
out.
want to process. They push children forward. Women followed. Then the men will come later. Obviously, if you shoot, you are shooting at unarmed children and women. Not to talk of the men who will come to you with stones and probably cordials. You see, the Nigerian army should show some professionalism. And I also want to agree with the fact that must we always go to every little fight as if we are going to war? This is a fight, and we are preparing as if it is an uprising. If we allow the police to handle this, you wait and let these people overrun the police first. Then we probably will have a reason for saying we are introducing the army. But at first provocation, we went to confront them. And don't forget that these people are making a demand that they have already told us almost 3 years there is a life and death demand. Release our leader. Or all of us are ready to
let
die.
them even put him on trial. Let the trial run its course.
Put him on trial and remind him for them all to see that, oh, he is alive, we saw him in court. Then put difficult bail conditions if you must. Let them be running. Maybe if they are busy.
If the case can go on.
Just like that.
And
be bringing him to court. Sentence him. Give these people a reason to become overzealous. Let the world say, oh, what else do you want? In the case of handling the Shi'ites crisis, the Nigerian government, this present administration, is not working at earning the trust of the international community. And it's a dangerous trend. It is something we must really be concerned about.
Because I don't know, this is a situation, and anytime I get to talk to any top government official about this man, it's always like a case of, no, there is something about him that we can't afford, like national security, and they're not telling us. And it's conflicting with violation of human rights.
Well, I think I've lived in Kaduna long enough to know a little about Ezagzagi and his group. I recall that when he was picked up under the military in around 96, 97, around 95, 96, you know, my first experience with them is such that these are people who are not afraid of anything. As you are killing, they are surging. So if a group could confront a military government at that time, a military government led by a brutal leader like Sani Abacha, so you can now imagine what is happening now. And I recall that between 1998, when the man was released, and up till 2010 or thereabout, there was no violent reaction from the group. Apart from occasional skirmishes between them and the communities in Zaria, we never recorded any major confrontation. So the next question you will ask is that, for instance, for the first 8 years of Obasanjo, how was he managed? What happened? And there was no confrontation between him and the government. Now, the first major confrontation we had happened around 2014 in Zaria, where he lost, I think, about 2 of his children. And I recall in that incident, the governor of Kaduna State was among the prominent personalities who visited him in Zaria to condole with him. Now, you now begin to ask, what now went wrong between 2014 and 2015 when this confrontation started? My only worry is that the same way we started this thing was how Boko Haram started in Borno when I was there. Those guys were going to bury their members who died, about 6 of them, and they were confronted by the police that why are they not putting on helmet? And they said, look, Baruamu, the government, we have no business with your government. From there, an argument ensued. The next thing police told us was that they were trying to snatch guns from them. They opened fire.
The same narrative.
The same narrative.
Army said they wanted to steal.
And they killed some of them. Now, when they killed them, you know, Islamically, when you kill for no just cause, you are supposed to pay certain amount of money. We call it dia. So Yusuf wrote to the government and to the police that, look, you have killed my men unjustly. You have to pay for their lives. That was how the thing started. And we have started again with this. Now, if the court the court granted. I remember Justice Kolawole at some point said, look,
We have to wrap up.
Government should find a way to negotiate with these people. The court order was very clear that release this man within 45 days, take him to wherever you think will be safe, and then, but, I mean, government, I believe that government appears not to be telling us something.
Maybe there's a reason we don't know.
Maybe there's a reason we
this
don't
issue
know.
that you mentioned about how we groomed
Yes,
Boko Haram.
yes.
Professor, the VC of Modibo Adama University,
University.
Professor Kyari Mohammed,
Mohammed,
the
yes.
best friend of the Chief of Army Staff. They grew up together. They were sitting beside each other in primary school for 6 years. Professor Kyari Mohammed, you remember that seminar of the police?
Yeah, okay.
Both of us attended it.
Yes.
He said it that day. He said, the way we are treating the Shiite matter, if we are not careful, they will become another terrorism.
Yes,
That day, many of the soldiers, you know, we don't like being told the truth. Many of the soldiers in that gathering in Abuja that day, they were grumbling because the best friend of the Chief of Army Staff told them the truth. They don't like the truth. So this is we are playing with a keg of gunpowder. You can't continue to kill people, murder them in their sleep, kill them on the street, and I expect that they are not
go back
building.
home peacefully.
How did terrorism begin even in the Middle East? When a child remembers the manner in which his
father was killed,
or his entire family was wiped out.
he wants vengeance.
Remember the case of the little girl who was raped. A 30-year-old girl raped by the American soldier who proceeded to kill every member of the family as a way of covering his crime.
The crime.
You don't expect, if there's a survivor from that family, to not want to avenge.
All right. When we return, Buhari attacks Obasanjo, Yaradua. Jonathan says they did nothing on infrastructure. We'll be right back after this time out. It's still Journalist Hangout. Stay with us. This is Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. There is a growing need for the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, to stop berating past administration of the PDP and focus on the task at hand. But it appears he who wears the shoe knows where it pinches. In continuous castigation of past governments for the woes of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari has tackled his predecessors for allegedly failing to invest in infrastructure despite huge earnings. While speaking in Abuja during an audience with the outgoing British High Commissioner to Nigeria, President Buhari said what those in the saddle between 1999 and 2014 earned is on record, but nothing was done on infrastructure. Babajide, is this not exaggerating it? Nothing was done on infrastructure. Nothing. From 1999 to 2014. How possible is that?
It's an exaggeration from the pit of hell. You know, you have life from the pit of hell. This is an exaggeration from the pit of hell. There is no need for this kind of things. There is absolutely no need. Because, look, I will start with Fashola. On 8 December 2015, Fashola had his inaugural press conference, inaugural interface with the press as Minister of Power, Works and Housing. And he said that he tagged that meeting, setting the agenda for delivering change. And he said there that Jonathan constructed more roads than any other Nigerian president. That's Fashola. December 8, 2015. The internet doesn't lie. Whatever you keep in the internet, generations will come and meet it. It's so good. People have projected that after light, the greatest invention that man has come up with is the internet. So this is Fashola saying on 8 December that Jonathan constructed more roads than any president before him. You know, so how did he see that from the handover note that I got? At least you will see what was done. Today, in that power sector, if we are saying that we are making good progress, it is still the roadmap. It is still the Jonathan roadmap that Fashola,
by Professor Bartholomew Naji.
all of the power plants, Olonsogo, Geregu, Hafam, Alauji, even the renovation and upgrade of the Tama station here in Lagos, Egbe, that gives us 1,320 megawatts, was done during the Jonathan regime. And it was Obasanjo that came up with the idea of building new thermal stations because we had relied on hydro plants for too long. And everyone knows now that even Kainji cannot give us
What is required?
Kainji has an installed capacity upon completion of 700 megawatts. But it is old, the equipment is old. So it cannot give you even that 700. So we've had to invest in gas-fired power plants. And it is Obasanjo and then Jonathan who has done so much. If you look at what they've invested, today we are reaping the benefits.
Setting the foundation.
You cannot say they didn't do anything. I lived in Kano. You look at the bridge in Kundila that was named after Ado Bayero. You know, remember that bridge that Kwankwaso complained about then? It was Senator Lado, who has now gone to the APC, that actually facilitated the building of that bridge. It was the Jonathan regime that did it. Go to, if you are someone who is familiar with Bayero University, go inside and see the projects that where this man used to work, the current INEC chairman.
INEC chairman.
Professor
No, the current INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud. TED Fund. Go and see the quantum of projects.
Graduate school, Bayero.
Yes, maybe you are a product of Bayero. Go and see the quantum of projects that TED Fund has done in that
project into that place.
If you knew BUK before, if you go into BUK, you think you are somewhere else.
Secondary school.
So you can't say they didn't do anything.
Dari, let me try and play the devil's advocate here. Okay. Maybe the president was looking at the money available as at that time in terms of oil and commensurate to what was done, that they did not address it squarely. Not instead of him saying at all.
You see, Ayo, sincerely, I think it is even too late to be telling Mr. President to stop complaining about what some people did not do. Sincerely. If we say it's just too late. 3.5 years, almost 4 years into your own administration, you are still complaining about what others didn't do. We should be talking about what you have done. You are seeking a second term. Now, talking about him saying these people did not work. I listened to the spokesperson of the president, of the president's campaign now, that Keyamo, defending an allegation. And this is and you see the contradiction between what the president is saying and what his men are saying. The allegations were that everything Buhari is commissioning was started by the previous administration. And Buhari's men came up and said, must we always start something new? If this administration came and said, okay, what we want to do is finish uncompleted projects, so be it. Now, if you are completing something started by others, is it right for you to say they did nothing?
They did not.
One of the complaints we have against previous administration is the attitude of abandoning projects and starting new ones. Now,
you want to put your name there?
Put your own name there. Now, I want to say, sincerely, I should be corrected if need be. I'm yet to see any project this administration initiated. What we are seeing is the completion of old projects, meaning that you are building on what you met on ground.
Yes,
and every time you go on here to say the previous people didn't do anything.
Even the VP was saying that previous didn't do anything.
The railway, so it was not started by this administration.
But the Kaduna Abuja, this was 95% completed. Even Rotimi Amechi said it on the day it was commissioned.
And you commissioned it. The Lagos-Ibadan Expressway was one of the credits of this administration. We knew since when we've been on it. So I think Mr. President should just take credit.
Ade is calling us from the United Kingdom. Thank you so much for joining us, Ade. Hello, Ade.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to contribute to what you guys are saying. I heard the president's speech. I heard the president's speech. What he said, the president's speech. What he said was that the quantum of money received is not commensurate with what they had on ground. Not that they did not do anything. You are the people just turning it that way. He was talking about the quantum of money that came in. It's not commensurate with what they had on the ground. Okay. That's number one. Then secondly, about the Shi'ites, your station this morning, there were two analysts there who gave a name what happened about what Iran is doing, external influence of these things and all this stuff. You are not telling the people, this is what should go, what those people should go. From your analysis, you are even encouraging the Shiites against the government, which is not
just
fair.
Give your own opinion and let us do our work.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Statements like this will continue to put us in trouble. If Iran, with due respect, if Iran is already interfering in this matter and it is yet to get to armed conflict, then shouldn't we manage our own home and ensure we don't get there? Must we encourage them to...
In Iraq, they do procession. Is this how they kill them? Do they use live ammunition on them?
Okay, let's go back to our topic. Well, yes. Ismail, what's your take?
Well, I think I don't have a different opinion from what my two other colleagues said earlier. The point is, you cannot want to, when you inherit a government or when you inherit anything, you inherit both liability and assets. You cannot gloat over assets and continue crying over liabilities because they go hand in hand. Now, when this government came in, the first things they commissioned were this Kaduna, Abuja, and it has helped a lot of people to the extent that even the senators, big men,
it is the train they are using. Honestly, they are not traveling.
Now, if the previous government didn't do anything, I can't wait for
Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to pick up. If
the previous government didn't do anything, how come you just came in and in less than 6 months you commissioned? What did you do with it? And if we must analyze quantum of money, if we also subject what they claim to be used to complete some of these projects to scrutiny, you will realize that there will also be issues around them. So rather than always complain that one government didn't do it, why don't you face what you are doing? The truth is, each time I go to Abuja these days, I see new roads being opened. In fact, if you are not careful, you get confused. So we commend the current minister for trying to carry on with the project. But if somebody had not started it, he probably wouldn't have started anything by now.
Look at that airport road now.
You understand? He couldn't have started anything.
Yes.
You know, the Jonathan Goodluck way from National Assembly that will take you to AYA and what, all those roads have been opened. The Apple roundabout, serious work is going on there. You know, so also is what's the name of this estate on your way to airport from that stadium area? You know, that stadium area. Yeah. You know, work are going on there. You know, so you can. I think it is high time the president's men and himself focus on what they are doing. I think it's better to tell us that, look, you don't believe in abandoning projects.
And that's why you are
complaining. I think it's better to hang on that
and tell us somebody
get credit and even say, but to say people didn't do.
What are you doing?
Okay, Abba is calling us from Lagos.
That's better.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
I agree to you. Good evening.
I commend you every day for your good work you are doing.
Thank you.
But I'm very today I don't agree with you.
Okay.
Because if every government come back and new government say they need to complete the project, how the country move forward? So even take 15 years.
That's the best way. That's the best way to move forward if you don't know. Not by starting your own from the scratch.
From Babangida to Abasanjo, they never complete project in Nigeria.
It's
How
a lie.
this government come complete another project? That's the only continuity. So
Thank you, thank you, Abba, for your
good
contribution.
I
Thank you
think
for your
it's-
contribution.
it's
He
misunderstanding now.
He doesn't even understand.
He's agreeing
no
with
problem.
us.
Yeah, that's why I think this is
He's
perfect. So,
He's saying it's good
Or
to
they
comment
say
that he's agreeing with him.
But saying that he's disagreeing with me.
something happened during Obasanjo period. Most of those projects that Olusegun Obasanjo actually did, immediately his successor, the late Yar'Adua, got there. You know, privatization, the refineries, even the power sector, the investment.
He stopped work.
Uh-huh.
He stopped work
Worked on
because
the sector.
he wanted to. Even if the administration did the same thing. Otherwise, by now they should have finished Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, because Jonathan started the rebuilding of that road. And they went for it. Was supposed to be done in 24 months, and they didn't have issue of funding, because the funding, the way Okonjo-Iweala made it, was supposed to come from the infrastructure bank. So the work was proceeding at a fast pace. Then when this government came in, they said they wanted to review the project, and then the work stopped. Work stopped there. Governments deceive themselves in Nigeria. You are not a saint. When you leave power, you will see how people will be talking about the looting that happened under your watch. Remember the prediction that I made, that President Buhari, even if he carries gun, is putting on people's heads. Those who will steal, will steal. I've been vindicated, because with his budget, his first budget, we saw monumental padding going on. And it's still happening. He can only do his best. He's an individual, he can do his best. The looting that we talk about is already ingrained in a lot of us. There's nothing he can do about it. He can only make an effort. So rather than busy yourself talking that so this one didn't work, or I'm the one who worked, or I'm the best thing since sliced bread, just get on with your work. Get on with your work, then show Nigerians what you have done. I was surprised when even Atiku was telling the government that, talk about your achievements.
Yes.
At this stage,
Because everybody can see the obsession with the past administration. And we said, anybody familiar with American history will know that George Walker Bush didn't really do well as president. But Obama inherited an America that was in shambles.
Yes.
But he didn't spend all his time complaining about the past. He went down to Brussels. He rolled his sleeves.
Despite the fact they are from different parties.
Yes.
The Republican,
we didn't hear him talking about.
He even used some brilliant people from the Republican Party.
Yes.
To put them in his cabinet. So he didn't spend every time condemning George Bush. Yes, we knew that George Bush failed as a leader. He was only good at going to war.
President.
You know, he was only good at going to war on false intelligence. You know, that those people had chemical weapons.
More interested than in warfare.
All right. The issue of implementing a new minimum wage for Nigerian workers is becoming a case of the more you look, the less you see. The more parties concerned parley to find a way out, the more intractable negotiations becomes. The more workers strive to force government to agree on an amount, the more adamant they appear. The amount is in question, we hear, is 30,000 naira. Another meeting in Abuja on Monday between the federal government, spearheaded by the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and the state governors to agree on certain amount, failed again. The federal government is proposing 24,000 naira, while the state governors are still undecided. In the midst of this dilly-dallying is a planned industrial action organized by the Labour Congress. That is on November the 6th. And the action, the way we are looking at it, if care is not taken, that action will be, taking. Gentlemen, 24,000 naira, 30,000 naira, and some 20,000 naira, according to different suggestions and everything. I want us to look at this discussion with the reality on ground. Babajide, if you were to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, how would you address this issue?
I will address the matter in a number of ways. I won't even let it get to this point before letting the redundant elements in the workforce go. That is, once you can kick out redundancy within the workforce, you will be able to pay. Those who work hard, those who truly earn their pay, they deserve to be paid a living wage. But we have a situation in which a governor will tell you, a governor told me that he got 2,000 heads. And then he tried his best, he pruned them to 1,000. I said, you can still do better. He said, no.
Yes,
He said,
doing what?
He said, if I do that, party leaders will crush me. I don't want to mention that governor from the North Central. Maybe Ismail will know. He said, party leaders will crush me if I go further than that. Look, and what do those people do? Once it's payday, they crawl out of the woodworks. In the various local governments, they come and collect money. What we are saying is that the resources of our country are leaking in various ways. We have even not just overbloated workforce, we have redundant workforce, we have ghost workers. Many of these governments have been able to save a little money from even sorting out ghost workers from the system. But we are saying that they can do better. And I always point to what happened in Lagos. When Bola Tinubu right-sized the Lagos workforce. Across our country and even at the federal level, we need to do some right-sizing. Look, if you are you just need to tell everybody that, look, I'm giving this, but I have to take this. And at the end of the day, everyone will be happy. Those who remain workers will be happy with what they go home with. You can't, because you don't want to lose an election, keep an overbloated workforce. So if I'm in their shoes, because the Constitution mandates me, stipulates that I must pay. So I will pay the minimum wage, but I will look at the workforce and right-size the workforce. All these governors who are saying they cannot pay. What have they done? In their states, they are carrying burdens that they should not be carrying.
Well, my boss here just said it all. Let's be realistic. It's a situation that requires what I call the carrot and stick approach. There is no two way to it. If any governor in Nigeria today is kicking against the payment of 30,000 naira as minimum wage, that governor is devilish. Some of these governors will look at people who raise up their hand and say, Babao, and they bring out $100 and dash it out and say, sorry, I know it's small, just manage it. That's more than 30,000 naira. We see them do it all the time. Now, pay a worker who has worked for 30 days or thereabout, 30,000 naira. That's 1,000 naira per day, for God's sake, in Nigeria, present day Nigeria. However, if we look on the flip side, we want these governors to pay 30,000 naira. The current minimum wage is how much? 18,000 naira. Many of them are owing.
They are unable to pay.
They are unable to pay. So we have a situation where we must also be realistic. If we force them to agree to 30,000 naira, will they be able to pay? If they are going to have that problem, what should be done? Majority of these states are merely civil service states. And many of these workers have no business being in government employment. So labor and government must come to the table. There must be realistic discussion that yes, we need to up the game, but some people will have to go. There are 70-something, almost 80-something year old people in the services of some states. refusing to go into retirement, changing their date of birth every year, swearing to affidavits and oaths year in, year out. Labour will say, don't retrench. Labour insists, pay more. There must be a way to meet and agree on what should be done. We cannot continue to postpone the evil day.
Ismail, I listened to another Labour leader, one radio station, and it was like, you are saying they can't pay. Okay, when Mr. President actually gave money, say, okay, we understand your financial situation. Take this money, go and pay. That what did some of the states actually do?
Yeah, it is true that when the bailout were given, in fact, before they collected the bailout, they were saying that they needed the bailout to pay salaries. But once the bailout was released, they started saying that they were not elected to pay salaries alone. That there are so many other other
and
demands.
some collected the bailout. They didn't need that bailout, but they collected it.
The bailout that they collected was not up to the amount that they were owing. Look at a state like Oyo. They collected far less than they were owing.
What they need to pay salary.
Imo collected far less than it was owing. It's like that. It's not like the bailout.
Should have solved all their problems.
Silver bullet that killed
all amen. You know, but you see, having said that, I am of the view that perhaps we may have to tinker with the constitution. Because the truth is this, let's face the fact. It's not possible for a man working in Zamfara to earn the same pay with a man working in Lagos. It's not possible. I mean, it's not realistic. It's not realistic. I was in Akwa Ibom recently, and I saw some of the things that, you know, the things on ground, the pencil that the federal government is saying will start producing in 2019, Akwa Ibom State government is already producing theirs. It's already producing pencil. So what it means is that if you allow states to determine what they can pay, there are states who will even pay more than 30.
Yes, there are some states that can pay more than 30.
There are states who will pay more than 30. And there are states that may not be able to pay, beyond 18 or 20. So what it means is that...
Let me quickly take this call. Stephen is calling us from Taraba State. Thank you for joining us, Steve. Hello, Steve.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
Very well. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
About the issue of minimum wage, I think that no state that cannot pay 5,000 naira as the minimum wage. If you look at it now, in the area of the workforce, there are some states that have small workforce and other with so many workforce. But if they look at it, when they increase the fuel money, they say that the UTC president, Kagama, he said that the federal government agreed that they pay 45,000 naira as the minimum wage. But this is a very surprise that now it becomes talk of war because of 30,000 naira. I think the federal government will pay it. Even the state government will pay it. There's no doubt about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
So as I was saying, it will help our governors to put on their thinking cap.
If they move at their own pace.
They move at the truth is that as we speak today, because we all go to Abuja to collect money, there are some states where party leaders will just, they are not, the children are not workers, but their names are on the list of the payroll of the local government.
Yes.
And all these things add up to the bill.
Yes.
You understand?
Talking about even adding to the bill, we need to begin to look at the political appointees. Maybe there should even be a law guiding at the state level how many appointees. No, at the national level. Let's have it from the central, that each state, just like we know the number.
At the federal level, they can pay. They don't.
They can pay
for states now.
And that is a trouble. The federal worker and the state worker go to the same market.
They go to the same disparity.
Jide, finally on this, I want you to react to what Ismail just said, because this is reality. If my salary is 50,000 naira in Lagos
is 28,000,
and I stay in Ekiti State or Osun State, my landlord, what he will be demanding from me in Elisha
It's Lagos salary.
what my landlord
Lagos will be asking.
There will be Lagos salary and Ogun salary. And
So how can this be worked out?
No, the thing is, we have to be careful what we borrow from Europe and America. Yes, in a country like Ireland, it is the same minimum wage for the whole country. But you go to America, it's not the same. Massachusetts, for example, that is not even one of the richest states in Nigeria, will pay higher minimum wage than Florida, pay higher minimum wage than New York. These are rich states, pay higher minimum wage than Texas. So states should be able to say, okay, this is what I can afford, and negotiate with their own workers. It's part of the inherent flaws in our constitution that we have this kind of situation, that it has to be a minimum wage for all of us.
System of government in the guise of federal.
We have never developed at the same pace as a country.
At all.
No.
In spite
So
of the force.
what do we survive on in Taraba, in Benue? You cannot survive on it in Lagos.
Not possible.
Because those are agrarian communities. Nearly everyone has to go to the
subsistence
you see a
farming.
young boy has a rice farm and all that. So, and food, which is the most important thing for our people, is readily available in those areas. So I believe that, one, the governors must prepare to pay the 30 million. 30,000 minimum wage. Hearing that some governors are begging that they'll be allowed to pay 20 is irritating.
From
Because
18 to
after
20,
5 years,
after 5 years,
with
you
the
had
massive
2,000
inflation, nothing has increased inflation so much as the last increase in fuel prices.
Yes.
It drove off inflation.
Yes.
So with the massive inflation that we have experienced in the last 5 years, you are telling people that you can only add 2,000 naira. I mean, it's an insult to labor. So governors should be prepared to pay this.
And this minimum wage was due for review since 2015, according to the law. And we are in 2018.
So 3 years added.
Every 5 years. That's what the last increment was in June 2011.
And be ready to negotiate when they ought to, and stand their ground when they should.
They've been trying resist. Can you see that the
what
governors?
they are doing?
Can you see when governors were delaying?
They were delaying till this time election.
Now
time.
Yari came out the other day and said they cannot pay. You will now see why they were stalling the.
They shouldn't have allowed them to
But
stall it.
if Yari has succeeded in what he wanted to do,
We will be talking separate. I will say, don't worry, we'll pay so that we win. Don't leave.
Is he paying minimum wage? Is he paying the minimum wage?
And that's the governor in Zamfara.
I want to thank you, Ismail Omikudo. Thank you so much. Dario Dufokon, thank you. And the Metro, Babajide Kolade Titoju. Thank you. And that is on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.